So this time we're going to take the feet together and we're going to use a belt to come into Urdhva Hastasana. So have your feet together, unless you have a back problem, in which case you can take them slightly apart. Your belt is going to come onto your wrists. Now you can see here that if I bring my hands out in line with my shoulders, my wrists and elbows and shoulders are all approximately the same distance apart, and I'm pushing into that belt. So on an inhalation, we're going to take the arms up. So inhale, palms facing one another, stretch the arms up. So push into your belt, make sure that your ribs are not poking forwards, front ribs to back ribs, abdomen towards the spine, frontal pelvic bones lifted, kneecaps lifting up equally, both sides, thighs lifted. Breathe, let the shoulder blades relax down your back ribs. They have to glide down those back ribs. Fine inhalation, exhalation, push to that belt. Push even more to the belt, and again, even more to the belt, and then release the arms down. Well done. Okay, so we're going to come now into Vimanasana action. So I'm just going to show you. We're doing this now from a classic action. I'm just going to move that. So I'll demonstrate the pose and then we'll do this together. If you need to have something to put your heel up onto, then by all means take your heel up onto something. Now here we are turning this foot. It's got to turn in deeply. If it doesn't turn in deeply, and many people struggle to get this turn from the ankle because we're not doing that to turn the foot. If it's difficult to get that turn, the strong turn, then you lift up and you swivel, so that now the toes are pointing to the top corner of your mat. Then you turn the whole of your right leg and foot out. You stretch into your fingertips, you lift your chest, and we bend the front leg now. So we're bending this into a right angle if we are able to. And then we come up and turn and go to the other side. All right, so we're starting from Tadasana. These are strong poses. They are physically quite demanding poses. So do make sure you're breathing through them. Step or jump. If you've got back problems, hip problems, then you step your feet, or knee problems. Okay, stretch into your fingertips. Make sure that your toes are pointing forwards at this stage. Tailbone long, frontal pelvic bones lifted, shoulder blades gliding down your back ribs. Now we're going to lift up onto the heel of your left foot and see, can you use your ankle to turn that in deeply? If you can't turn it enough, lift up onto the ball of the foot, turn a little bit more, and then we're turning the whole of the right leg and foot. Now if you're struggling to get your pelvis around, remember this breadth in the gluteal crease of the back leg, you can put your hands onto your hips and give them a little bit of assistance to turn them around there, and then stretch the arms back out again. Tailbone long, frontal pelvic bones lifted up, chest lifting, and then bend your front leg. So we need quite a nice wide stride. We don't want this knee to overshoot the ankle, so if it does, you need to make your stride wider than it is. So we're descending both sitting bones towards the floor, lengthening the tailbone, extending into the fingertips, breathe, and then coming up, turn the feet and step or jump the feet back into Tadasana. So we're just going to stand in Tadasana, take the fingers, interlock them behind you, stretch down with the hands, lift up with the chest, and breathe, and smile. It's half done. Okay. So just let the breath flow. And we're going to come to the other side now. Hands to the center, stepping or jumping. Push down into those outer foot bones, stretch out into your fingertips, create that length in the side of the neck. Turn the back foot in. So the back foot turns in deeply. Or come up onto the ball of the foot and turn more. Remember, you can always put something underneath that back leg heel. If it lifts, if it becomes light when you come into the action, or if your back is not comfortable, that sometimes that lift on the heel can just help with a slight discomfort in the back. Also remember that if you tip your torso forwards, that should also take the discomfort away. So tailbone long, chest lifted, frontal thigh to thigh bone on that back leg, and then see, can you bend into an angle? Keep breathing. Keep extending into the back leg heel, even if that heel lifts. And then coming up, turning the feet, step or jump the feet, back into Tadasana. So now we're going to interlock the fingers in the other direction. So whichever would be your natural way to go, just change it and draw down. Draw down with the hands as though you've got somebody stepping on the palm of your hands. Let the breath flow, fine inhalation, fine exhalation through the nostrils. Okay, so we're going to come now for an Uttanasana action. I'm just going to show how we're going to work. So the first way of working is we're just going to take our fingers to the wall and then flatten the palms. The feet, as you can see, are hip width apart. The back is flat and you're making a right angle with your body. Actually, we might work with the belt anyhow. So if you haven't got a belt, don't worry about this, but it just gives a little more attention to the feet and the outer calf muscles when you do this. It's just a little more tricky to get your distance because you've now got your belt on. All right, so take your hands to the wall, get your distance. First of all, spider your fingers and then flatten your palms. Have your ears between your arms and you're making a right angle with your body. So you've got one right angle made by the wall and the floor, and the other right angle is made with your legs and your torso and your arms. Have your feet hip width apart and push into the outer foot bones. Spread your toes, really get that nice opening on the toes. I'm just going to take these bricks out of the way so that they're not obscuring the view. Press the hands into the wall, draw your shoulder blades down. About that rotational action of the upper arms rolling out. So I'm just going to show that again here, this action. But those of you with hyperextended elbows, I do not want you rolling your inner elbows to face the ceiling. Those of us with hyperextension in the elbows are able to do that, and it's not a good action. So you've got to rotate those upper arm muscles without letting the elbows swivel. Hard to do. Okay, and now coming up. You can take your belt off now. Where you were standing just before will give you a rough idea of where you need to be. But then when we come into this action, you may have to adjust your distance. Okay, so you will just adjust your distance. Now you can see that I'm using 2 bricks here. It might be that 2 bricks are too low. You might need to take your hands onto the seat of a chair, which is perfectly fine. You have to be mindful about this. Okay, so the way we're going to work is we're going to stretch the arms up, come into Ardha Uttanasana, take the hands down. You can see that I've not actually moved my back from there to there. Then we're going to draw the toes of the left foot back and take that left foot up the wall with the toes pointing downwards and the pelvis level. So let's do that together. So first of all, get your distance. You don't want to kick your wall. It's very uncomfortable on your foot if you do that. So we don't want you to do that. Roll your shoulders back and down. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half Uttanasana. Take your hands down onto your bricks or onto the seat of your chair. Now, keep your kneecaps lifting, pressing it down into the outer edges of your feet, lifting your inner ankles, lifting your inner knees, lifting your inner thighs and groins. Draw the toes of the left foot as though you're making a line with a marker pen using your big toe. Take it back. Just don't take it up just yet. Just rest it there on the floor. Now make sure that the back of the pelvis at this stage is level, that you're not lifting your left hip up. Then lift your left leg and place it to the wall. Now we're going to see, can we get that levelness in the pelvis? And the frontal thigh muscle moves to the frontal thigh bone, so that on the lifted leg, you've got to lift that frontal thigh muscle to the bone and lift the bone to the back thigh. Extend the breastbone, breathe through the nostrils, and releasing down. So we're going to go to the other side, re-establish the action in your legs, the action in your feet, the spreading of the toes, the lifting of the kneecaps, lengthening of the sternum chest, and then draw the toes of the right foot back. So just take them onto the floor for the moment. Pelvis is level, breadth across the gluteal crease of the back leg, but also on that standing leg. Keep the standing leg outer hip hooked in, don't let that kick out to the side. We've got to keep that compact. And then lift up the right leg, take it to the wall. Keep it strong and active. So again, the frontal thigh muscle has to move to the thigh bone on that lifted leg. The thigh bone on the lifted leg moves to the back thigh. Breathe. Strong poses, these ones. Okay, and releasing down. And now stand in Tadasana, roll the shoulders back and down. I want you to come into a resting Uttanasana now. I'm just going to show you how that's going to work. We're going to take the feet hip width apart. They can go wider if you need to. We're going to interlock the arms and stretch the arms up. Then we're going to come into an Ardha Uttanasana and then release down. Okay, so let's do that together. Feet hip width apart or wider, but make sure that the middle toe is pointing directly forwards. Take hold of your arms and fold your arms. If this is a difficult action, you can hold on to the wrists, that's not a problem. Ribs back, abdomen back, inhale. Take the arms up. If there's shoulder problems, then you can just work with your hands onto the seat of the chair, head resting onto a bolster on the seat of a chair. Come halfway, broaden in the back of the pelvis, broaden in your lower back, and then release down. So you keep the legs strongly lifting and the torso relaxes down. Breathe. Fine inhalation, fine exhalation through the nostrils. So keep the legs strong and active, keep the feet very positive in their movement to the outer edges of the feet, toes lengthening, not gripping. All right, now release your arms, raise your head slowly. Now we're coming out of this slowly, don't be in a rush. Very gently lift up out out of your Uttanasana and breathe. Okay, well done. So then you may be coming into Halasana. Those who are not coming into any inversions at all today will come into Viparita Karani, legs up the wall. Now you won't be coming into any inversions. If you've not got any equipment, then you won't be doing your Savangasana because you need 4 foam pads or plenty of blankets to make a platform. Or if you've got a period or a headache or a migraine at the moment, or problems with your ears or your eyes. Okay, so otherwise you're going to come into this version of Halasana. Okay, so I've got this equipment set up with 4 foam pads and a bolster. You can use any combination of this that you want to. You can use a brick for your launch pad rather than the bolster, or a 5th foam pad. And you can use blankets rather than these foam pads. Now, the distance that you need to be from the wall is approximately, I just need to move this out a little, the outer femur head needs to be about in line with the centre of your platform. So I'm just going to show then how you come into your Halasana. The base of the skull lines up with the front edge of the support. The back of the head is on the floor. We roll the feet to the wall. So if you've got your distance correct, and I'm a little too close here, but it will do. If you've got your distance correct, you will be able to lift up your back ribs with your hands. Okay, so let's do that together. And it may be that, you know, having your support a little closer than is appropriate might be okay, because it's quite unnerving if you don't normally come into Halasana to the floor to not be able to find the wall there when you're looking for it. Okay. So base of the skull in line with the front edge of your support. Make sure that you're even, that your shoulders are on your support correctly. If this is difficult, you can come into your normal Savangasana shoulder balance or your Halasana to the seat of the chair. All right, on an exhalation through the nostrils, you roll and take your feet to the wall. So we want to have the feet and the pelvis in line, and the hands support the back. Turn your toes in, let your knees come together, and just rest your knees against one another in this bent leg position. So keep the legs bent, feet on the floor, just to settle the back down. All right, and gently roll to your right to come up out of the poses.